October 28, 2011. My devastated son-in-law Lance telephoned me from the hospital's parking lot with the news that our beautiful 43-year-old daughter Beth was in the hospital and that the doctors had found a mass in her pancreas and there were innumerable spots on her liver. He had taken her to the ER with excruciating pain in her side, believing it was possible appendicitis. I promised him we would be there within a few short hours. Beth's daddy and I dropped everything and with these huge knots in our stomachs went immediately to be at her side, Lance's side, and their 3 boys, Belen, Max, and Ryan. She shared with me that one doctor came into her room, sat down, looked into her eyes, and proceeded to tell her this pancreatic cancer meant sure death within a few short months. She immediately dismissed his remarks and chose not to let fear rule the day. Their family doctor, Dr. Michael Bash, came in to talk with her and Lance. Then he asks her if he can pray with them. They prayed. Immediately their hearts leapt with relief and hope. In days to come, God provided friends and acquaintances that opened unknown doors and a plan of attack on this horrendous disease that Beth and we, her family, were just being introduced to. As a result, Beth was introduced to a team of doctors at Cedars-Sinai under the direction of the West Coast's leading oncologist, Dr. Edward Wolin, in her type of cancer, who would further diagnose her cancer and begin to lead her through a maze of treatments to recovery and life. Her medical team at Cedars-Sinai diagnosed her with Pancreatic Neuroendocrine Cancer, PNET, a rare form of cancer that only 5% of patients are diagnosed with. Because it is difficult to diagnose pancreatic tumors due to the location of the pancreas and late developing symptoms, the cancer had metastasized to stage 4. She had a large tumor in the body of the pancreas and her liver was enlarged with tumors. It was a slow-growing cancer, and doctors believed she had had it for up to 10 years. Our minds were overwhelmed with all the information and concerns for Beth's future health. By God's grace, Lance and Beth looked at Beth's diagnosis straight in the face, sought spiritual guidance, and moved forward with amazing courage. Their biggest concerns were their 3 boys. They wanted life for their boys to stay as normal as possible, but with openness and honesty. Grandpa and I moved into the lads' guest room, and Grandma Sally came west from Oklahoma to be near, and we all coordinated the household activities for a long, difficult period of time. Doctors told Beth her tumor was operable, so she chose to get that cancerous tumor, the source, out of there. Her surgeon, Dr. Nicholas Nissen, was able to remove the tumor and save her pancreas. Miraculously, she did not end up with diabetes. An after-surgery random fluid pocket formed and became infected, weakening her body with months in bed. She grew very thin and frail. A visiting nurse came weekly to administer antibiotics intravenously and trained Lance in administering them daily. There were several fast trips to Cedars-Sinai with unexpected admissions to the hospital. I spent one all-nighter in ER with Beth stretched out on a gurney, too short for her long body, and with no place to rest my weary head. Her little boys were at home with Grandpa Carl or Grandma Sally, not always understanding what was happening to their mommy. Lance, with a heavy heart, was trying to keep his family intact and maintain his business. It was a very difficult period for Beth and everyone concerned. Then the news came that the delay in treatment had caused her liver to double in size with tumors. Doctors put Beth on an oral chemo treatment, Xeloda and Timidor, to shrink the tumors. After a year of treatment, her liver shrank down to its normal size. Health looked like it was returning. In fall 2013, she underwent 2 targeted TheraSphere procedures to her liver. Beth is a beautiful redhead and fully expected to lose her hair. She and her younger boys had made plans for just such a day. The boys were going to shave their heads. That day never arrived. Her hair thinned some, but she has maintained a beautiful full head of hair. Eventually, we all returned to a fairly normal life with monthly trips to Cedars-Sinai for a monthly octreotide shot, blood tests, CAT scans, MRIs, etc. The trips that I served as driver, or the Diamond Girl, 2 passengers qualify for the Diamond Lane, proved to be really great times for long talks with my daughter. At home or on the telephone, we always experienced fragmented conversations, as a mother of young boys is always on duty. Beth even got to attend Belen's high school graduation in a wheelchair. It was a very hot day, but God provided a cool breeze, and because of the wheelchair, she was seated in a cool open area, shaded by her red umbrella. December 2013, we all thought Beth would be given a good prognosis and a reprieve from cancer. That was not so. The MRI that is done every 3 months showed a tumor on her spine. This was devastating news. True to form, though, Beth, along with her oncologist at Cedars-Sinai, determined to kick cancer's butt. To do so, Beth and Lance chose to continue believing God, the giver of life, whose love never ends and whose mercies never stop, and to follow his lead in the continued battle over the attack on her body. In February, Beth had an experimental body scan, Gallium-68, done, which showed cancer throughout her body. A month later, Beth underwent an outpatient radiation treatment for a tumor in her lower back that was causing her pain. Then it was determined the tumor on her left femur bone near the hip would weaken the bone. On May 5, 2014, she had surgery to have a titanium rod inserted down through her left femur bone to prevent breakage. She was on crutches for a period of time, but maintained the home and family activities alongside her ever-faithful husband, Lance. This man is God's gift to our daughter. Of course, Max and Ryan had to have fun with Mom's crutches. Every kid wants to know what crutches or a wheelchair experience is like. Doctors started her on another oral chemo affinator to shrink the multiple tumors. The chemo caused her blood count to drop drastically, and doctors would stop the treatment until the blood count could improve. The tumors have not shrunk. In August, they switched her to another targeted oral chemo, Sutent, that is not depleting her blood count so drastically. We are praying this one will stop the tumor growth. Doctors have told her about a targeted therapy for neuroendocrine cancer called PRRT, peptide receptor and radionuclide therapy, that is available overseas. It is only available in the U.S. as limited clinical trials. It is very costly and not usually covered by insurance. Doctors suggested she begin to raise the money and make plans for getting this treatment next year. In all we read, this treatment appears to have been very successful in extending a patient's life expectancy 5 years or more. 5 years of a mom in the lives of 2 young boys is insurmountable. On a daily basis, Beth's pain is controlled with a fentanyl pain patch. Fatigue is her greatest enemy. Her life has changed drastically in these past 3 years. The Ladd family moved their residence within a mile of their business and the younger boys' school. Max is 11 and in intermediate school with 2 A's already. Ryan, soon to be 10, is in 5th grade and quite familiar with A's. Belen, the oldest, has ventured out on his own, moving to Montana to pursue his dream career as an outdoorsman and fishing guide. Beth has stopped working in their payroll business and has made plans with her insurance business to reduce her responsibilities there. Stress is much reduced in their daily lives, but you will find Lance and Beth on the athletic field, on the court, or near the corral every week rooting for Max or Ryan in one of their various activities, such as lacrosse, football, basketball, or horseback riding. At the end of this summer, Beth declared a vacation from cancer. How does one do that? Because cancer does not go on vacation? Sometimes one just gets sick and tired of being sick and tired. So Lance took Beth and the boys to the beach in their motorhome, about 45 minutes away, and set them up for several days while he commuted to work. Beth put cancer out of her mind, basked in a little sun, took deep breaths of cool beach air, read, and watched as her sons played in the surf. When Beth got home, she was ready to fight cancer again. Beth and her family are involved in the Center Point Church in Murrieta, where they find much-needed spiritual inspiration. Beth involves herself with others who deal with this horrendous disease through a local cancer support group. Someone who is walking in like shoes truly understands the multifacets of emotions and pain being experienced. Beth and her family will also participate in PanCan's Purple Stride in San Diego to help raise funds for pancreatic cancer. If you would like to help Beth with her fight against pancreatic cancer, please find the link at the bottom of this page.